Why Jannik Sinner is the most sportsmanlike player on the ATP Tour right now. We talk a lot about Jannik Sinner, the tennis player. The 91% first serve points won, the relentless baseline rallies, the tie-break clutch gene, the records at 24 that men twice his age never managed to break. All of that is real and deserves every word written about it. But there's a version of the Sinner conversation that doesn't get nearly enough airtime. The one about who he is when the cameras catch him doing something that has absolutely no strategic advantage, no PR coaching, and no tactical benefit to his match. The one about the moments when he just decides to be decent, quietly and without fanfare, because that's apparently just who he is. This video compilation captures 10 minutes of exactly that. And the remarkable thing is that none of these moments feel manufactured. They don't look like a player who has been told by his management team to be visibly nice on camera. They look like a person acting on instinct, stopping for a ball girl who got hit, grabbing towels when he sees someone struggling, conceding serves when the line judge missed a call, holding an umbrella over a young woman standing in the rain. These are not PR moments. They are character moments, and character reveals itself most clearly when nobody is watching and nothing is at stake. What makes Sinner's sportsmanship so fascinating is the contrast it creates with the intensity of his on-court game. This is a man who dissects opponents with surgical efficiency. He identifies weaknesses in the first 3 games of a match and spends the rest of the afternoon exploiting them without mercy. He has lost 5 consecutive matches precisely 0 times against Zverev. He looks at a match point and executes it the way a machine closes a process. And then, between those points, he checks if the ball girl is okay. He helps the ball boy with the towel. He concedes his opponent's serve even when the call never came. The duality is extraordinary. Tennis has always had its larger-than-life personalities, the theatrical, the combustible, the controversial. Sinner represents something quieter and arguably rarer, genuine, unpretentious, working-class integrity from the world #1. Before we walk through every one of these moments in detail, if this is the kind of deeper look at tennis you've been searching for, tap subscribe and join the Tennis Insider family. It's free, and it's where the real conversation happens. Checking on the ball girl, the small gesture that said everything. The first thing you notice right from the opening of this compilation is the ball girl moment. Sinner is locked into an ultra-aggressive baseline exchange against Taro Daniel, a match where, by the commentary's account, Daniel had already lost the first set in just 22 minutes and was desperately trying to find a different gear. The point is live. The momentum is in Sinner's favor. Everything about the competitive context is screaming, stay focused, keep playing, don't break your rhythm. And then Sinner notices the ball girl has been struck by a ball and immediately shifts his attention. He stops, he walks over, he makes sure she's okay. The commentators noted, that's nice from Jannik, just making sure she is okay. And there's a warmth in how they say it, the way you describe something unexpected and genuinely pleasant. One of them adds that the second incident looked much worse than the first, suggesting this wasn't a single isolated moment, but part of a pattern of behavior across the match. Sinner is aware of the people around the court, not just the opponent across the net. What's worth unpacking here is what that awareness reveals.
In elite sports, the tunnel vision narrative is everywhere. Commentators, coaches, and athletes themselves constantly praise focus, as if the inability to notice anything outside of the competitive task is the gold standard. The best players, supposedly, see nothing but the ball and the lines. Sinner's behavior in this moment suggests a different model, genuine awareness of the full human environment around him, and the confidence to act on that awareness without worrying it will break his concentration. He walks over, checks she's fine, and then goes back and continues playing dominant, controlled tennis. That's not a distraction. That's a person who is secure enough in their game that a 30-second detour to check on a ball girl doesn't cost them anything. And it tells you something important about how Sinner thinks about tennis, as something that happens inside a human space, not separate from it. The match matters. The people around it matter too. The towel and the grip, helping a ball boy on the biggest stage. The second moment in this compilation is quieter but just as telling. Between points during a match, the cameras catch Sinner helping a ball boy with his duties, assisting with the towel routine, at one point even dusting down his own grip himself rather than waiting to be served. The commentator's reaction says it all. What a class act! The phrase is used so genuinely, with such unfiltered admiration, that it lands differently than standard sports commentary hyperbole. This is someone who just saw something they genuinely weren't expecting to see from a top-ranked professional athlete. Let's sit with the context for a second. Ball boys and ball girls at major ATP events are young, often nervous, working in an intensely high-pressure environment where mistakes are visible to thousands of people in the stadium and millions watching at home. The players they serve are some of the most famous athletes on the planet. The power dynamic is enormous. And within that dynamic, most players treat the ball kids as part of the functional infrastructure, not unkindly, but with the efficient indifference of someone operating in a different orbit entirely. You extend your hand, you receive the towel, you hand it back, you serve. Sinner apparently skipped that script. He stepped in, grabbed the towel himself, dusted down his own grip, and treated the ball boy's role as something to participate in rather than merely receive. It's a trivially small thing in the abstract. In the specific context of a high-stakes professional tennis match with thousands of people watching, it's the kind of moment that players very rarely produce because there's no competitive reason to do it, and it requires a kind of active generosity of spirit that doesn't come naturally under pressure. The commentators discuss it with the tone of people witnessing something that makes them feel good about the sport. And that's the real measure. When the people whose job is to watch and analyze tennis pause to say "what a class act" about something that had nothing to do with a winner or a break of serve, that's a player doing something that transcends the game. Conceding the serve, the integrity play that the rule book doesn't require. The most technically significant sportsmanship moment in the compilation is the serve concession. The setup, due to a technical issue, the line calling system was unable to make a call, but it was subsequently confirmed that the serve was out. The commentator notes they'd already seen several questionable calls go unchallenged during the match, and questions had been building about why certain calls weren't coming. In this instance, the confirmation arrives late, and Sinner's response is immediate and unambiguous.
He brings the ball back. He signals, "Right, let's just do it right from the start." He concedes the serve. First service is awarded to his opponent. The commentator's verdict? That's great sportsmanship. Not that was required by the rules, because it arguably wasn't, given the technical failure. Great sportsmanship. The distinction matters. Sinner didn't make this call because the rule book forced him to. He made it because he decided the point should be replayed properly, regardless of what the technical outcome of the failed censor might have otherwise allowed. That is a fundamentally different kind of integrity than rule following. Rule following is table stakes in professional sport. Everyone follows the rules, or at least tries to. What Sinner is demonstrating here is something that sits above rules, a personal standard about how the game should be decided. He wants to beat his opponent on tennis. He doesn't want to hold a point he didn't earn clean. That standard can cost him in tight matches, and on some level he knows that, and he applies it anyway. The ATP has been moving toward full electronic line calling at major events, which the transcript references directly. One reporter asked Sinner about the coming elimination of line judges and whether this kind of interruption would still happen. Sinner's response was mature and honest. "You cannot do anything anymore. It's already the past. Everyone can make mistakes, unfortunately or fortunately. And I can also make mistakes. No anger, no blame, just quiet acceptance of a situation that was legitimately hard to absorb, handled with more grace than most professionals would muster." Playing for Matteo, how Sinner honored his injured compatriot. One of the most emotionally resonant moments in this compilation doesn't involve a physical act at all. It's a press conference statement. Matteo Berrettini, the Italian tennis icon, popular, talented, and repeatedly unlucky with injuries at crucial moments in his career, was forced to retire from a match at the ATP Finals, clearly in emotional distress. The camera captures it as genuinely tough to watch. A big occasion for a popular player, an injury that cut it short before it could even become what it might have been. Sinner was at the same tournament as an alternate, a player who gets into the draw when someone else withdraws, which means his entry into the event came directly because of Berrettini's inability to play. It's a slightly uncomfortable position for anyone to be in. You're benefiting directly from someone else's misfortune. Most players in that situation would acknowledge it briefly in a press conference and move on. Sinner went further. He said that Berrettini has been unlucky many times already in his career, that he wished him all the best, and then stated directly, "I said before that I'm going to play for him this tournament because he deserves more than me to be here, so I give my best." He said it plainly, without any performative emotion, just a statement of fact about how he had chosen to frame his own participation in this event. He deserves more than me to be here. That line. In a sport full of carefully managed public statements and media-trained athletes, that kind of raw, honest acknowledgement of your compatriots right to the spot you're filling is remarkably rare. It's not a liability admission in a legal sense. It's a human acknowledgement that the world isn't always fair, that Berrettini has paid dues that should have earned him more, and that Sinner intends to honor that by giving everything in the tournament. It's the kind of thing a genuinely humble person says. You can't fake that. Helping a fainting fan. When Sinner stopped the match and called for water, the Miami Heat incident is perhaps the most viscerally memorable moment in the entire compilation. During a match against Chris O'Connell in the brutal Miami Open conditions, 28 degrees Celsius, 82 degrees Fahrenheit, 61% humidity, fans who had been sitting in direct sun for hours, someone in the stands faints. The commentator notices first. Someone in the crowd seems to be unwell, playing over my left shoulder as somebody has fainted, so we're going to stop for the moment. Both players immediately recognize what's happening and stop playing. And then Sinner does something that goes beyond simply waiting for the medical team to handle the situation. He actively contributes, calling for drinks to go to that section, sending a towel, making sure the response is happening and that the fan is getting what they need. The commentator observes, "Good to see Jannik trying to contribute to the resuscitation of that fan." There's a slightly stunned quality to the way it's described, as if the commentator is watching something that doesn't quite fit the expected behavioral template of a professional athlete in the middle of a competitive match. The broader context the commentator provides is important. Miami's conditions don't just affect players, they affect everyone in the stadium, and fans have less physiological preparation for prolonged sun exposure than athletes who have been conditioning for exactly these conditions. The responsibility to the people watching isn't just a tournament's responsibility, it's a shared human one, and Sinner apparently acts on it instinctively. What this moment reveals, more than any of the others, is that Sinner's sportsmanship is not tennis-specific. It's not about the rules of the game or the etiquette of the court. It's about how he moves through the world more generally, alert to when people around him need something, and willing to act on that alertness even when the competitive context is pressing him to stay inside his own preparation bubble. That's character. Full stop. Grace in defeat. The missed call, Tsitsipas, and the composure that didn't crack. One of the hardest sportsmanship tests any athlete faces is not in how they behave when things go right. It's in how they handle injustice. Real injustice, moments where you were doing everything right, where the momentum was yours, where you'd earned the advantage, and then something entirely outside your control takes it away. That's the test that reveals who someone actually is, because the instinct to be gracious in those moments fights against every competitive and emotional impulse a person has.
Sinner faced exactly that test in a high-stakes match against Tsitsipas, where a missed call came at the worst possible moment. He'd been playing great tennis. Tactically, everything went in the right direction, as he put it himself in the post-match. And then the interruption happened. The point was gone. The momentum fractured. And when reporters asked him about the removal of line judges from these tournaments, essentially inviting him to express frustration about a system that had just failed him, here is what he said. "Everyone can make mistakes, unfortunately or fortunately, and I can also make mistakes. And it went like this. Full stop. No blame, no campaign for a replay, no social media post about officiating. Just a 23-year-old in a press conference who had every right to be publicly upset and chose not to be. Not because he wasn't upset internally, but because he understood that the moment was already the past and that nothing productive comes from making it someone else's fault." It's tough to accept this, yes.
It's a tough one to swallow. He did acknowledge the difficulty honestly. He didn't pretend it was fine. But he drew a clear line between acknowledging the pain of a bad situation and using it as a platform for grievance. That line is one a lot of professional athletes in all sports struggle to find. Sinner finds it consistently, and what's remarkable is how naturally it seems to come to him. The umbrella moment, chivalry on a tennis court, and why it went viral. During a rain delay, one of those interminable pauses where players are waiting under shelter for conditions to improve and the competitive context is essentially suspended, Sinner was spotted holding an umbrella over a young ball girl, making sure she stayed dry while they waited. The commentators noticed immediately. "That's a touch of crass, isn't it?" one said. Another jumped in, who said chivalry's dead. And then, perhaps most entertainingly of all, someone added, "He's making Carlos look bad here, isn't he?" That last line is delivered with obvious warmth and humor, but it lands in an interesting way. Carlos Alcaraz is also known for his personality and his relationship with fans and ball kids. He's expressive, warm, generous in his energy. The joke about Sinner making him look bad is a playful way of saying this specific gesture in this specific moment is so unexpectedly considerate that it sets a new bar. The bar being, will you stand in the rain next to someone who is also in the rain and use your umbrella to cover them instead of yourself? Most people, honestly, would have just stood under the umbrella and not thought about it. It's not cruelty to not share an umbrella, it's just the default of existing in your own physical space. Sinner stepped out of his own physical space instinctively. He noticed the ball girl. He adjusted. He made her comfort a priority over his own minor convenience. And he did it without appearing to calculate whether anyone was watching or whether it would be captured on camera. The viral quality of this moment comes from exactly that absence of performance. Nobody told Sinner to do this. No brand deal required it. No coach whispered it from the sideline. He just did it because it was kind. In 2026, when public figures are under more scrutiny than ever and every action is filtered through questions of authenticity, watching someone simply be kind without a reason is disarmingly powerful. The pattern: 8 moments that build a consistent character portrait. What this video accomplishes, better than any profile piece or interview ever could, is the assembly of a consistent character portrait through accumulated small moments. One act of sportsmanship can be explained away: a fluke, a good mood, a PR moment, an accident. 2 can be coincidence. 8, across multiple tournaments, multiple seasons, multiple entirely different types of situations, that's not coincidence. That's personality. Look at the range of what this compilation captures. Checking on a ball girl after she's hit by a ball, that's empathy. Helping a ball boy with his duties, that's humility. Conceding a serve when the line system failed, that's integrity. Publicly acknowledging that Berrettini deserved to be in the draw more than him, that's honesty. Stopping play and sending water to a fainting fan in Miami, that's genuine care for people outside his direct competitive sphere. Holding an umbrella for a ball girl in the rain, that's just basic consideration, expressed instinctively. None of these moments are the same. They cover kindness, integrity, humility, honesty, empathy, and grace under injustice. They happen on different continents, in different tournaments, across different years.
They involve ball kids, opponents, fans, officials, and teammates. The variety is what makes the pattern so compelling. It's not that Sinner is very good at one particular type of sportsmanship moment. It's that his default setting across all types of interactions and all conditions seems to be notice what's happening, notice what's needed, and act accordingly. In Paul Annacone's famous assessment, Sinner's emotional baseline hasn't changed in the 4 years he's known him. What this video proves is that the same is true of his moral baseline. The kid who was kind at 18 in challenger events is kind at 23 at Grand Slams. The circumstances have changed completely. The person hasn't. That consistency is the most impressive thing in the whole compilation. What Sinner's sportsmanship teaches us about what tennis really is. There's a way to interpret Jannik Sinner's sportsmanship as separate from his tennis, as the nice human story that runs alongside the competitive story, the feel-good footnote to the real narrative of rankings, titles, and records. But the more you watch this compilation, the more that separation feels artificial. The same qualities that make Sinner a uniquely difficult tennis player to beat are the same qualities that make him a uniquely decent human being to be around. Think about it this way. The composure that lets him ignore a fainting fan situation, get it handled, and go back to drilling first serves at 91%. That composure is the same thing that lets him stay emotionally flat under match pressure. The awareness that lets him notice a ball girl getting hit in the middle of an intense rally. That awareness is the same broad field attention that allows him to track opponent positioning and adjust return stance mid-match faster than anyone else on the tour. The integrity that makes him concede a serve he could have kept. That integrity is the same internal consistency that makes his preparation and his execution so reliable week after week. These aren't separate character traits running in parallel. They're expressions of the same underlying wiring. Sinner is a person who has decided, consciously or not, that how he does things is more important than the specific outcome of any single moment. That value system produces a player who serves with integrity when it costs him, checks on a ball girl when it slows him down, and holds an umbrella for someone in the rain when nobody asked him to. The same value system produces a player who drills 24 of 29 first serves when it matters most, concedes nothing on court that he hasn't earned, and finds a way to win 7 consecutive points when the tiebreak is on the line. The tennis world is lucky to have him leading it, not just because he's extraordinary at the sport, but because of the standard he's quietly setting for what the sport's best player is supposed to look like as a person. Champions come and go. The ones who leave a permanent mark on a sports culture are rarer. Sinner is already doing both. If you're as invested in that story as we are, subscribe to Tennis Insider, where we cover the full picture every single week.